Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 286. Your weekly get together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm as always your host, Ian Brown. Joining me today is
David.
tonight, David. Oh boy, do we have something nasty coming out of Activision via the Wall Street Journal. They just dropped an article with damning allegations about what Bobby Kotick may or may not have known. We have the Halo Infinite multiplayer stealth dropping suddenly just out of nowhere yesterday. And G4 is back and exactly as you remember it, chock full of Ninja Warrior reruns. But first, I want everyone here to know this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. But first, before I get into anything else, I want to do what every good host should do and immediately direct you to another stream. And that is the fact that the Desert Bus for Hope marathon is currently running right now over at Twitch TV/Desert Bus. Now, David, do you know what Desert Bus is?
Desert Bus, if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, is an old video game from like the 90s, I think, that was on PC that Penn and Teller made or were in, or it has something to do with them.
Okay.
And all I know is you drive a bus. It's like a 2D game, and it's the actual drive from like California to Vegas or something.
Yeah, you have
And it's
most
just
of
a
the
flat,
details down.
it's like a flat, straight road and nothing happens, and it's literally just a test of your human endurance if you can keep holding W until the bus gets there for 9 hours.
So
Is that
yeah,
about
you
there?
more or less have it surrounded. It's from a game called Penn and Teller Smoke and Mirrors. I think the game itself was unreleased. And it was supposed to be a game that kind of mocked other video games and also was just a bunch of full of cruel and dirty tricks to play on people. Because, well, it's Penn and Teller, so it's fitting with their shtick. Desert
Okay.
Bus was a part of a money game that was part of this collection that was designed in direct response to the controversies around games like Mortal Kombat and Night Trap at the time, where they wanted to show, okay, well, if you want a video game with no violence or anything in it, well, here you go. Here's Desert Bus. And it is a real-time journey from, like, Albuquerque, New Mexico to Las Vegas, I believe. It takes roughly 9 hours to get there.
I just know it's
Uh,
flat desert because I've seen
yeah,
videos
and
of
it is just flat desert. It's you sitting there driving for 9 hours straight, and if you're able to actually make it from point A to point B the entire 9 hours without going off the road, because if you go off the road, your car breaks and you have to get towed back to the starting city in real time. Uh, and by the way, if you think you could just let your controller go, the bus constantly drifts to the right.
Wow.
So you have to constantly fight the controller for like 9 hours just to get to your destination, in which case you score 1 point. And then you can keep doing it to score more and more points. Occasionally a fly hits the windshield. It was designed to show that a video game without any like action or violence or anything like that, or anything to do, is just boring as shit. It's real life. We use them as an escape. That was the point behind it. Well, this game, it kind of became, I want to say like 15 years ago or so, someone decided to marathon Desert Bus for charity. Thus, Desert Bus from Hope was created. And now every year you have these people who will stream Desert Bus for like a week straight of them just nonstop driving this fucking thing. Of course, you have people coming in and out and in and out and raising money up for their various organizations. So Desert Bus for Hope is the charity's name, I believe. They are streaming right now at Twitch TV/Desert Bus. Go give them a look. There's some weird shit going on right now. There's like some classical music playing, and some dude's like using a hibachi to grill up some meat, but no one's saying a goddamn word.
Perfect.
It's unusual. So take a look at that. David,
Yes.
now that I got that out of the way, you weren't here last week because you were away doing David things, but I'm assuming that
That's
means
true.
you've had a lot of time to play some video games between now and then, right?
I have actually played a lot of video games between now and then.
All right, what are you gotten into? Break into it.
I have probably several tens, maybe, of hours in the new Forza game.
How's that working out for you?
It is the exact same video game. I refuse to believe anybody that tells me otherwise.
Like they've
As
added
for the
nothing
Horizon
to
4.
it? They just
There is a new map. There are some new cars. There is some new dialogue and new clothings. It's the same video game. Like,
okay.
it's very strange because the last game wasn't bad. I really liked Horizon 4. And it's just it's weird that this to me feels like a big full-priced expansion, more so than a brand new video game. Like, the location is not as interesting, like visually. I guess there's some parts of it that are, but a lot of it's just kind of flat desert, which, as we were just talking about, isn't the most entertaining video game locale. And I don't know, it's still fun. It's still Forza. I'm happy I'm playing it on Game Pass, and I didn't pay $60 for it.
So
I'd
you're
be
having
really
a
bummed
good
if I did.
time with it sounds like, but they really don't do anything new that makes you go, this is an amazing addition.
Yeah, mainly I'm just like checking boxes to get back to where I was in the last game, right? Like to get the amount of cars and money and like resources that I had. So it's just, I don't know, kind of a weird thing.
It's weird to hear you say that, because this game has been getting like rave reviews over the past week or so. I thought
I feel like I'm a crazy person.
Okay.
Or something. Because everyone's talking about how this is like the best game ever, but I'm wondering if a bunch of people just didn't play Horizon 4 because it's Horizon 4.5.
All right.
If you ask me.
Does this fall into that category that Forza 4 might have looked so good, and after a while it just gets like you can't really improve on visuals after a certain point anymore?
Yeah, I honestly think that's the problem, because it still looks amazing, right? The game looks great, but I don't think it looks any better. But I don't know that they could make it look any better.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird, funny problem. So I'm not mad at the game. I do quite enjoy the game. It's just my that's my take.
Nape, it's your take. Anything else? I know before you get into it, actually, I've been playing Deathloop. Finally getting into Deathloop.
Oh, fun.
I don't get it. Like, it's fine. It's okay. But I think I just expect so much more from Arcane at this point that it just hasn't clicked for me yet. Admittedly, I'm not too far into it, and I think I already know what the twist is, and I'm really upset. If it turns out the twist is what I think it is, and I'm almost positive it is, I'm going to be very salty about it. But that does some cool stuff, but that doesn't go into the time loop idea behind it nearly as much as I want it to. And I think I'm playing it and I want it to be like Time Shift, and it's not. I think that's my biggest problem.
I mean, I haven't played that game at all, but it does look very much like an Arcane-made video game.
It had, yeah. All your complaints that you have about Arcane games are still applicable here. But I just like Arcane games. I know.
That's just like you like it, I don't like it. It is what it is. I knew I wasn't going to play it beforehand, but if you're having fun, at least.
Stuffy Twitchy in chat saying the original Halo multiplayer release prediction. He was a week off by his original Halo multiplayer release prediction. I don't remember what your original one was, unfortunately, Stuffy Twitchy, but it is out now. We'll talk more into details about that date later. David did play some of that. And also, I believe you played some Battlefield as well.
I did. Okay, so we'll get into this way later for new releases, but spoiler alert, Battlefield's been out since last Friday, because I don't care if you're doing the paid early access. When the game is available for you to buy it with money, that's your release date.
Yeah.
You can spin it however you want. Everybody else gets to play it late, and the people that pony up the dough get to play it on time. But that being said, if you have Game Pass, and I know I'm getting more and more of a shill, but if Sony stepped up and had a decent fucking offering for some kind of subscription service, then I'd shill theirs instead.
Well, hold on. While we're on this topic, getting off things, I will argue a little bit that anything that Sony's PlayStation 5, anyways, has that instant game collection on there. And it has some bangers, like the newest God of War, The Last of Us, Persona 5, Horizon, all kinds of cool shit on there. I would put their limited selection of what Sony has in their instant game collection up against what's currently on Game Pass right now as of 2 weeks ago. Now, Microsoft, now that they're actually starting to release some bigger shit on there, like now that the old joke that Microsoft doesn't have any games, that's slowly changing because now they have Forza Horizon, Halo multiplayer, etc. But up until recently, even with all the shit that Game Pass offered, I would still say the Sony Instant Game Collection was better than the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm just going to straight disagree with you.
Okay.
Completely and utterly.
Fair enough.
But that's the thing. A lot of the games that are on the Instant Collection that are very good video games are games that I've already played. So they bring me no value.
Yes, I am speaking about
kind of
this in a vacuum.
Right? But just like hours to dollars, Game Pass wins because there's so much shit there. You can argue quality, depending on what you're playing, but there's still a lot of good shit on Game Pass. All that being said, if you have Game Pass, it comes with this EA something something that lets you get early access when everybody else gets early access to certain video games, and you get like a trial for 10 hours, but it's the full game. You can do everything you can do in the rest of it just for 10 hours. And the thing that's nice about it is that it seems like it's actually counting gameplay and not when I'm in menu or when I first tried to actually play it and just the complete server hell that was the opening day of Battlefield 2042. It was a nightmare. Getting into a game, the game crashing, just so many problems. But much like the beta, on that sweet spot where I got into a match, it is so damn fun. Flippin' hell, dude. I love this new Battlefield. It's so much fun.
I'm
It's
gonna have to pick
actually
this
upsetting
shit up,
because
aren't
I don't want to. So what's fun is I'm gonna burn through the trial time because I still have a couple hours left. I think I've played 8 hours of my 10 so far, and I still like it. I'm still not mad at that video game. I know some people have issues with it. I think it's fun, dude. I like driving tanks. I like shooting down helicopters. I like just the whole thing. If I
David?
do buy that game, I'll probably wait a month or two.
I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second. Your video is coming in a little choppy, and I think it's on my end. So what I'm going to do, for those who are listening at home and not paying attention to the video, I am going to disconnect from David real quick, and I'm going to recall him back on Discord. You're going to see this go to a blank screen for just a moment, and I'll be right back.
Ba-dum-bum.
All right, let's see if that didn't fix things.
Cool.
Kind of.
Find out.
I don't know. But at least you're in sync now. What was happening is that your video and your audio were disconnected from each other.
That's no good. I don't like that. Well, anyway, Battlefield seems fun. If I do buy that game, I'm not going to do it this week or next or even the week after that. I would want to wait for things to be smoothed out a little because I do run into some bugs and a few issues, but, you know, it's fun. I like it.
Okay. I have been looking forward to playing this one myself because I know Battlefield 5 kind of went up like a hot fart, but something about this one looked like it would be something I'd be into. And also, I hate using this term, but I really enjoyed the levolution shit they had in, what was it, Battlefield 4? When you had like the flood come in or if a tower collapsed. I liked the interactive maps like that.
Parachuting into a tornado is a joy.
And that's what I'm talking about, is the weather shit in this game really, really, really makes me want to take a good look at it. So, the weekend has been plagued with problems, like you were alluding to, but if you can get past those and actually into a match, it sounds like the game is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Just not worth $60 in your opinion, but then again, we've long established you haven't spent $60 on a video game in years.
It's been a really long time.
All right. Okay, let's now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, let's go ahead and start into the news, and this one out the gate.
Unpleasantries, as it were.
Yeah, this one's serious out the gate, and we're not going to get too much of the minutia about it because this is a story that has been going on for, feels like a couple months at this point. This is via the Wall Street Journal, and they just dropped a massive article essentially detailing that CEO of Activision, Bobby Kotick, knew about sexual misconduct allegations all the way back to like 2016, I believe was the earliest one in this article, and went out of his way not only to deal with them silently, but also hide this information from the board of directors. So this flies in the face of Kotick's multiple statements saying he had no idea any of this was going on, that this was localized to Blizzard. This article seems to contradict all of that. Important to note that we are not going to be rehashing the past 2 months of Activision bullshit that has been happening.
It's a lot.
It is a lot, and it has been going on for a while. There will be a link to the Wall Street Journal article down in the description below of this video. It is behind a paywall, so keep that in mind, though I'm certain you can find sites that let you get around that just fine. But yeah, it is rather damning to Kotick's publicly stated statements. Don't like to repeat myself, but there you go. Anyways, the big thing that I saw, and this is what the article starts off with, is that it claims that Kotick knew of an alleged rape that happened at Sledgehammer Games in 2016, 2017, and Activision reached an out-of-court settlement without notifying the board of directors, meaning Kotick kind of hushed it all up settled out of court, and then told the board of directors everything is fine, don't worry about it, nothing happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It further goes into details of an incident by Kotick himself that caused the CEO in a negative light and adds doubt to his claims that he was unaware of alleged behavior by the company's many studios. Because remember, the focus seems to be on Blizzard, but this shit's happening at Sledgehammer Games. Dan Bunting, the co-head of Treyarch, was accused of female employee but sexually harassing her back in 2017 after not drinking, according to people familiar with the incident. Activision's Human Resource Department and other supervisors launched an internal investigation in 2019 and recommended that he be fired, but Kotick stepped in to keep him in place, multiple people are saying. Important to also note that a lot of these are allegations or sources say, so take into that what you will. By the way, Mr. Bunting did leave the company after the Wall Street Journal asked him about the incident, so that is relatively new. Like, they started to ask about this, and he just peaced out. He's like, I'm out.
Doesn't want to be caught up in it.
There are many, many allegations this article goes into about Kotick blocking people from getting fired or knowing what happens and kind of downplaying it, or just, like that first one, lying to the board of directors about what happened.
Does this seem even a little bit surprising, though? Like,
okay, so
from that guy,
covering things or like settling stuff out of court and making sure it's quiet as possible. No, that's not surprising. What is surprising is just lying to the board of directors. Because if there's anyone that can fuck you up, it's that. However, as this article came out and started making the rounds, I recommend you all go read it. It is very long. It's detailed. I'm not going to necessarily get into the weeds on it here. Activision did release a statement. Now, I don't know if this comes from Kotick itself, or is written by the board of directors, or their HR, or what. All I know is that this is a statement from Activision. I'll just double check to make sure that's the case. Yeah, just from Activision. So from their PR department. Saying the following. We are disappointed in the Wall Street Journal's report, which presents a misleading view of Activision Blizzard and our CEO. Instances of sexual misconduct that were brought to its attention were acted upon. The Wall Street Journal ignores important changes underway to make the industry's most welcoming and inclusive workplace, and it fails to account for the efforts of our thousands of employees who work hard every day to live up to their and our values. The constant desire to be better has always set this company apart, which is why, at Mr. Kotick's direction, we have made significant improvements, including a zero-tolerance policy for inappropriate conduct, and why we are moving forward with unwavering focus and speed and resources to continue increasingly diversify across our company and industry to ensure that every employee comes to work feeling valued, safe, and respected. We will not stop until we have the best workplace of our team. This is Activision going on the offensive against the Wall Street Journal rather than saying, hey, we're going to look into it and go into this. This is them saying that they're kind of defending Kotick here. I don't know if we have any action taken by the board yet. I don't know if this was one article that I read talking about this statement said that the board of directors published this. Another one said that Kotick himself published this. A third one said that a PR firm released this. So I cannot track down where this statement came from. If it came from the board of directors, nothing's going to fucking happen. Because that means the board of directors are backing Kotick and they don't care. If it came from Kotick or a PR firm, that means Kotick could still be in trouble. But I don't know where this statement originated from inside Activision itself, because it's just released under a blanket from Activision on their investor site.
Yeah.
What do you think about all this so far, David? I know I've been talking a while now.
So, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to kind of get into
It's
this.
hard to comment on this shit. Because
I am fairly confident that Bobby Kotick has been, and will continue to be a complete shit stain.
I think we can agree on that. I still lean toward the fact that he is one of the most overpaid CEOs, period.
Yeah, 100%. He's, like, factually overpaid for what he brings to that company.
Yeah, in rankings of people who do this for a living, not just game journalists who may or may not have, like, a chip on their shoulder and axe to grind.
Yes.
From, like, the business world considers him that, actually. Though I know that some people might say, well, he took zero salary over the past year. He went down like 65,000 or something like that. But when they do that overvaluation rating, they take into their stock options and shit as well.
Mm-hmm. That being said, we kind of have an idea of how this guy is, just based on like his public facings, but who knows? He could be a completely different guy. I'm willing to bet what you see is what you get with this guy. And if there's all kinds of bullshit going on, he probably joined in. He just seems like that kind of fucker. And
he seems like he seems like the kind of guy that's just gonna go, really? Well, I don't care. Pay the money and let's move on.
Exactly. He would just brush it off. He's not going to deal with it. He doesn't care. I don't. I mean, he's probably a cyborg. Let's be real.
In Kotick's defense, it is important to note that all these are technically allegations. There was no like files or internal documents posted that said he did this.
Yeah, but that's
certain.
what fucking happens when you pay people off out of court. They have to sign a thing that lets them not bring up this kind of shit.
Sure.
Like that's how that works. So the lack of like an email from Bobby Kotick to all Activision female employees with "show me your boobs, LOL." Is not something I need to know. That
it is a lot of anonymous sources too.
Yes.
And there have been multiple incidences where anonymous sources have proven to be incorrect. And sometimes settlements happen not because something bad happened, but because it's just cheaper to settle and go fucking take your money and get out of here. And that's why people abuse that.
There are also scenarios where named sources come forward and are completely and utterly destroyed.
Yes. The point I'm trying to make...
a legal team, by internet trolls, by...
I agree.
Who the fuck knows, right?
The point I am trying to make here...
in both categories.
The point that I'm trying to make here is, at the end of the day, there is nothing definitive here.
Yeah, no, and at the end of the day, there's nothing that we can do. This is going to go to like internal investigations, and it's probably going to be Activision looking at itself and saying, "We don't think we did anything wrong," and that'll be that.
Now,
we'll see what happens with the California lawsuits against Blizzard, but is that going to splash on Activision? Maybe. We'll see.
You want my personal take on this? What I think happened? This wouldn't surprise me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I would hear that. What? Let me phrase that. Most of what I read here would surprise me at all. The thing that would surprise me is he was actively lying to the board of directors.
Yeah.
Because then you get into some like... There's like our legal system, right? That we are answerable to. And then there's the legal system for the extremely wealthy. Lying to the board of directors could potentially get in trouble with that part of the legal system.
Yeah.
So.
So this is, again, more allegedly and using a kind of she said, he said thing. But you've got this Activision statement saying that, you know, everything's better now and these are old scenarios and anything was acted upon. But there is also, in this article, a quote or a sample or a whatever the fuck you want to call it from Jennifer O'Neill, who just left, saying that this shit was happening to her. And she quit 2 months ago. Yeah. And she was hired like a year ago. Which doesn't make this in the past and something that they're striving to be better. This literally just fucking happened.
Yeah. This falls. There's a statement there's a phrase that I say a lot, is that how many grains of sand make a heap?
Yeah.
This is more grains of sand on that stuff. It's a different way of saying where there's smoke, there's fire.
And there's so much fucking smoke pouring out of Activision Blizzard.
Yeah. In response to this, by the way, the Activision Blizzard King Workers Alliance Group, which represents workers at Activision Blizzard and King, announced that they're staging a walkout today, saying, quote, "We will not be silenced until Bobby Kotick has been replaced at CEO." If that goes anywhere as well as their last walkout did, expect nothing to come from this. Because while a lot of people did walk out, if you take Activision as a whole as a company, I think it was like less than 5% of the employees that actually participated in it. I could be wrong on that. I didn't actually math it out. But it was a very small number of people who left compared to how many people actually work at Activision. So it's all fun and nice to say they're walking out, but I don't think anything's coming from this other than a small PL boost. But there are people who are doing a walkout. That happened today, apparently. That was a statement that ABK gave today. So I'll be very curious.
But I mean, that's really all the power they have. So
yeah. I mean,
they'll do it.
They could quit en masse. It's easy for a company to go, don't worry, you'll be back at work tomorrow. It's a little bit harder when you suddenly have 10, 15, 20% of your workforce go, no, we're done. We're not showing up to work, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's easy said too. I understand that people have lives and jobs and everything like that, but it really does come down to how much you feel about this company.
No, and we talk well enough about how many layoffs are on the game industry. We very rarely talk about like companies opening and mass hirings. So while it's fun to say, yeah, they could just have a mass quit at Activision, that they might not actually be able to do that.
Yeah,
Because
and that's why that is why I want to make sure that that's out there. I get that's easy to say, but that is you want actual change at Activision. That's what it's going to take. If you want it from the employee side of things, other than people just not buying their games anymore. But let's be real here, that's not going to happen.
Yep.
It's a shitty topic all around. Activision, once again, just showing its ugly side of things. This time actually splashing up a little bit on Bobby Kotick himself. I am surprised by the statement Activision put out because they have been very much on the It's more than just saying, hey, we're going to look into it. They're actually kind of coming at the Wall Street Journal here a little bit. What was their exact quote? This point of the Wall Street Journal report, which presents a misleading view of Activision Blizzard and our CEO. That is them saying, without saying it, yeah, the Wall Street Journal is falsifying shit. Or leaving details out. Or they're spinning a narrative, is what Activision is claiming. When you normally have things like this, you normally have a company either not say anything or go, we'll do better in the future, or some kind of spin on that take. So it's interesting that Activision go, no, this is wrong. This isn't right. But I don't mean their culture. I mean the Wall Street Journal is wrong.
Yeah, they're saying that this is incorrect.
Yeah, and Stuffy Teaching Chat says it's also now happening the latest Call of Duty cash cow release is being critically panned, slightly impacting sales. I don't know if it's being critically panned. I'm seeing still get between 7 and 8s, which isn't like 9s and 10s like Call of Duty does, but it is getting rated well. One thing, though, I don't know if I have it on the show notes tonight or not. I don't think I do. I do. There's a story later on that's going to talk about Call of Duty sales, which I think is kind of eye-opening if you want to get into it. But we will mention that a little bit later. Let us know what you all know about this down below. Be super respectful because the topic is sensitive. Attack the idea, not the people involved, if possible. And just let us... just give us your take on what's going on here. What I mainly want to know is this going to affect you buying Activision games in the future until Bobby Kotick gets removed or until something is resolved? Like, what is the limit for you to either stop buying Activision games or to bring you back if you have stopped buying Activision games? I'm kind of curious to know where people's line is on this. And if your line is, there isn't one, I'm going to keep buying them, more power to you. I still want to hear from you as well. I want an accurate idea of what's going on in the average consumer's head about Activision Blizzard here. I'd be willing to bet most people, by the way, who are buying these games have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. That's flat out.
There's people like me who haven't had Battle.net on their computer for, months now?
Give or take. Yeah, it's been a while. Enough of that. Let's talk about something a little bit more fun, David, in this Halo multiplayer that stealth launched yesterday.
Yes. There you go. Halo multiplayer, and it's free. Look at that. That's crazy. We knew it was coming, but we didn't necessarily know it was going to happen this quickly. And in a tweet, we just have dive into Season 1 of Halo Infinite in the multiplayer beta starting today on Xbox and PC. And it kind of crashed the Steam servers. Like, it didn't completely, because they're kind of bulletproof, but there was actually complaints of people having issues downloading Halo because of how flippin' popular it was. Now, have you played Halo multiplayer already?
No, I haven't touched Halo Infinite yet. I'm going to probably wait till the campaign comes out, because multiplayer, I might give the multiplayer like a cursory look just so I can kind of be abreast on what everything is on it. But I'm far more interested in the campaign than I am the multiplayer, because I'm
okay. Yeah, and we talked about how we're completely opposite on this. I'm not even going to look at the campaign. So for me, Halo is out. This is the whole game. This is all there is to do. It's right here, this multiplayer. So I have played some amount of it already. That being said, it did launch both on the Xbox app, which is what I assumed it launched on, and it's where I downloaded it first. And I had a nightmare of a time. I could not get into a game. When I did get into a game, I had crashed to desktops. I had constant issues, stuttering problems. It was a mess. I thought it was just a bad video game. And then I looked online, and everyone's having tons of fun with it. I'm like, am I am I wrong? No, it must be everybody else who's stupid.
Yeah,
And then
I understand that feeling.
And then I read about how it had crashed Steam. And I was like, wait, is this just on Steam? And then I downloaded it there. And hey, guess what? Works perfectly. 0 issues. 100% of the time, every match I've gotten into worked the Steam version of Halo Infinite.
Now, is it crossplay between these two platforms? I'd imagine it is.
I believe it's crossplay everywhere.
Okay. If you could do me a favor,
if you're going to go try the beta, I would recommend the Steam version, not the Xbox app.
If you could do me a favor, when you get a chance to play this again, try to go through the Xbox app version of it and see if those problems are still persisting or if it runs perfectly fine now.
I will not, because I've deleted it because they're two separate installs,
well,
and I'm not going to waste that much hard drive space.
Yeah, why would you?
Yeah. All that being said, my quick takes. The launch pulled in more than 250,000 concurrent players on Steam alone on Monday, making it the 4th largest peak number of concurrent users on Monday behind Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Dota 2, and PUBG Battlegrounds. The launch is technically a beta, but players have access to all maps and content, plus the full Season 1 Battle Pass, with progression carrying over to the game's official release on December 8th. Opinions range...
The game is out, essentially.
Yeah, it's basically out. It's the video game. You can play it right now. The Battle Pass seems useless. I don't know what it's for, but
yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people say it's painfully slow to level that up.
You don't get any Battle Pass progression from getting kills or playing the objectives. It's challenges. Do X challenge to get 100 XP.
What are these challenges like? Can you give me an example?
I don't know, play 3 maps of this and win, or get this many grenade kills, or I don't know, busy work you'd get from Destiny.
Yeah, I don't like that. At least in Destiny,
I've played a few hours of this. I don't think I've leveled up once.
Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That needs to change. I wonder if that will change. Well, no, I don't know. That's a problem if that's the case. I don't like that at all. I like it if I'm just playing naturally. Like in Destiny, if I'm playing naturally, my battle pass still at least levels up if I'm doing strikes or something like that. It's not necessarily determined on me getting 100 kills.
I absolutely despise railroaded content in video games. It is my least favorite thing. If the game says you need to do this in order to get the thing you want or in order to progress for something like a battle pass, I can't stand it. I hate checklists. That's why I don't play MMOs really. I want to just be able to do whatever I want at any given time, and that gives me some amount of progress, right? No matter what I'm doing, I get something. That's the way I like to.
Yeah, same here. I want to know, because it feels like if I'm playing Halo and I'm not getting anything for playing Halo, but I get something for jumping 100 times or something stupid like that, then congratulations. I'm not playing Halo anymore. I'm playing the game where I have to jump up and down 100 times to unlock the next step of the battle pass, and that's a job.
Yes, I don't like that. But if I can just play the game for a few hours, then it's like, oh, cool, my battle pass leveled up. Like it does in, Call of Duty and every other damn video game with a battle pass.
Yeah, it is all right to rip off Call of Duty in this case. Yeah. I'm very disappointed to hear that. That is unfortunate. Beyond that, though,
gunplay feels just as good as it always has. It's Halo. It feels like Halo. Graphically, I don't know. I'm on a 980. Why the hell would I know?
Fair enough. Let us know what you think about the Halo multiplayer beta Halo Infinite multiplayer beta, rather, down below. I don't even know why we're technically on a beta. It's out. You can spend money. Can you spend money on it?
No, I don't believe so.
The Battle Pass is just free?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know what you get besides cosmetics or something.
I do have to take a look at it. I'll be very curious.
Like I said, I don't level it up, so I don't know what you get from the Battle Pass.
Weird. Maybe that's why you haven't leveled up, because you don't have the Battle Pass, because you didn't buy it.
No, because I've gotten XP towards it by completing challenges. So I've seen a progress bar towards a level up.
Okay. Interesting. All right, I have to take a closer look at myself. I don't do multiplayer games that often, but Halo was one of those ones I dabbled in. It's like you said, it's free. It's only going to cost me
it's
time.
Actually funny because I've been playing so much Battlefield recently and having fun playing that. And then jumping into Halo, and I was like, "Oh damn!" Because you play a lot of Battlefield and you get killed a lot just because of the nature of that chaotic ass video game. And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm all right at shooters." And then I play Halo, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm actually pretty good at shooters." I forgot.
It's hard to be good at Battlefield because it is it's a chaos simulator.
Time to kill in these games is so vastly different that Halo is and always has been an arena shooter, right? Like Quake and Unreal were always kind of more my jam. than some of the newer stuff. But I like Battlefield just because I like, you know, tanks and planes and all that other stuff. But you can get just one shot by a sniper, or you know, you get into a fight with somebody and it lasts 2 seconds. You know, whoever pulls first, that's the fight. But in Halo, you know, you got a good 6-7 seconds of shooting back and forth and,
You got shields and
ducking
shit.
and shields, and you got to run up and melee and all this other stuff, and so it's fun.
Chat is alluding to the fact that battle passes can be purchased now in Halo, which means by our rules that game is officially released.
Yeah, 100%. That game is out.
I'm willing to kind of
All reviews of this video game should be done right now because the game is out.
period. End story. Should be ready to go 1 hour after it came out. No one was told it was coming. David,
The ultimate embargo.
let's move on to the next topic here, and that's G4 is back. And does anyone care? Now,
I want to see what Sessler's been up to.
I don't. I've met that man. He is not pleasant.
Oh, well, I never met that man.
G4, for those of you under the age of 35,
Right, G4's so fucking old at this point.
was a cable TV channel. Cable TV, by the way, was internet streaming, but you were forced to watch on someone else's schedule.
Yes, and it had commercials that you could not fast forward.
Commercials
or skip
that
or
you
ad
couldn't
block.
ad block. So G4 was a TV channel that I want to kind of keep the joke going, but I'm not going to. G4 was a TV channel that focused around video game content.
Dude, I loved G4 as a concept. Now, we obviously have a little bit of an age difference, so maybe I'm more in the bracket of like, hell yeah, video game TV, let's do it. And while it may not have lived up to what we all wanted it to be, I still think that like that early year or two of G4 was cool.
It was bold as hell.
Yeah,
for sure. It was absolutely trying something no one else did at the time.
They made a video game television network that just showed like people playing games, people talking about games. Like our show, as ridiculous as this is to say, would have fit into the G4 content programming schedule.
Yeah, probably. It probably would have. In fact, they had
our production value is not nearly as high as theirs was,
no.
but
and that's no excuse, by the way. An idiot with a webcam can make a production value show higher than anything that was around 20 years ago. I just don't have the drive to do it. Let's be 100% real.
Yeah.
But G4 came back. It went away because no one was watching it after a while. They had a whole bunch of
it was just
questionable programming
of
choices toward the end. Yeah. It eventually turned into like a proto-Spike TV.
Kind of, yeah.
Is what it became. Well, it's back now. It had its soft launch today. And much like the G4 of old, it has been plagued with nothing but reruns of old shit. Now, there might be a reason for this. Let's before I get into it, let's go into what G4 itself is saying. They said that's going to be streamed online and also on traditional cable. So it's going to be and on Twitch. So you can watch it right now on Twitch and YouTube. And then they're going to take what they showed today and put it on cable tomorrow.
Okay.
Now, cable runs 24/7, so I don't know how they're going to get 24 hours of content to fill a single day's worth of time, because they're not going to be running new shows 24/7. So it's going to be a lot of old shit. If you take a look at the G4 channel in any cable guide, and I did real quick just on Xfinity to see what we had on there, I shit you not, it was nothing but Ninja Warrior nonstop, and then every 3 hours a little 30-minute news show, and then more Ninja Warrior.
Cool.
That does not a TV channel make.
It's like they never left, man. It's just comforting to me.
They didn't even have cops or cheaters on it. In fact, they go out of their way to say no cops or no cheaters. I'm like, okay, cool, but Ninja Warrior in my mind is synonymous with the death of G4. Along with
do they have Arena?
No, they only have from what I understand, they only have 4 shows right now, and 2 of them are old shows. Attack of the Show and X Play, which were on G4 20 years ago, and they're bringing those 2 back in new and various forms. They also are going to be the home of a bunch of ELS, ESL, I think, Esports League Gaming. They're going to be doing a bunch of shows with that, but those will be only when those events are running, so it wouldn't be like a weekly show. And then there's
I mean,
this
that being said,
fourth.
if you really get into it, there's so much live competitive video game. It's a ridiculous amount, and there actually almost always is something to watch.
Mhm. And if G4
But
wants to
it's
turn into ESPN of video gaming, I think I'm fine with that. But that's not
yeah,
quite what they're trying to for.
I'd be super into that if they need something to pad their time in, then start playing flipping whatever you can find. Play Dota matches, play Rocket League matches, play weird obscure Street Fighter tournaments that are happening in Brazil. Whatever. I think that sounds awesome.
I want this to be good because I liked that first year of G4.
Right? It was cool.
I liked it. It was something I didn't watch it, but what I would do is I'd be online and I would have it running on TV in the background. Kind of
and
like
every once in a
old,
while you'd turn around.
yeah, and I would see something entertaining. This new G4, I don't see. We don't live in a spot. Let me think about how I'm going to phrase this. Technology has passed the old format at G4 by, and they keep seeming like they want to go back to the old format.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I made the joke about programming and streaming earlier about how you're watching TV on someone else's timetable. That's what this is if you're watching this on cable. You're watching TV on someone else's timetable. Now, yes, they're also live streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and you can go find those old uploads there. But it costs money to actually have a fucking TV channel on. I don't get... If this was just G4 coming back, it's like a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream, I'll totally get it. I get it. Okay, fine, good, great, whatever. But they have an accompanying TV channel along with it, and
it's like an actual channel. It's like,
Yeah.
172 on your cable box or whatever.
Yeah.
Way up there, you get a G4 TV.
I think it's like on Xfinity. I think it's like 1,400 something.
Wow, there's way too many TV channels. I haven't had cable since 2006.
Yeah. This is... I don't understand what they're going for, because they're trying to make it in a field that is already heavily oversaturated. They're cashing in on nostalgia for something that is considered like a joke to be made fun of. More people have negative views of G4 than positive views, in my opinion. And I think it's because
if they have any views at all.
Yeah. And I think it's because we all know what G4 turned into. Mm-hmm. And the fucking thing they do when they come back is bombard you with maybe 4 shows and then 22 hours of Ninja fucking Warrior. I don't get where G4 thinks they're making money here.
That is a completely crazy thing. I didn't even know I knew the other stuff. I didn't realize they actually had a TV channel.
Yeah.
So that makes... I'm kind of with you. That makes no sense to me. If this was just an online internet TV show, then I'll probably still watch the new stuff. Why not? I'm just going to watch it on YouTube or Twitch.
I don't get it. Anyways, if you have any idea what G4 is, or you used to watch it, please let me know what you guys think about the upcoming G4 down below. Chat here says, video channel scarcity is no longer a constraint G4 can leverage. Video channel scarcity is no longer a constraint G4.
Well, because remember how there used to only be 100 things to watch?
Oh, right. Because, now they have thousands, so they could just put it on there and go.
Now there's a million things to watch.
Yeah, they are no longer as unique. They get swallowed up in the crowd. It took me a couple times to read that statement, chat, but I get it now.
No, I like it. It's right on the money.
All right, David, we're low on time, so why don't you go ahead and take this next story here as we're
moving on. In a post or an article from Video Games Chronicle, Xbox says there will be no more backwards compatible games due to legal and tech issues. This is kind of bearing the lead here, because what actually happened is they just added 70 plus more titles to the backwards compatibility program, which is a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Now, last time they added stuff to backwards compatibility, they said it was going to be the last time they could do it, because of different license and legal issues. And they somehow scrounged up another 70 plus video games.
Last time they said they would do it, I don't think they said it was due to legal and tech issues. I just think they said they're changing focus to other things. We don't have the time to do
I know they said something along the lines of, we're done. And now, boom, here's a huge, huge thing. So in a blog post on the official Xbox website, compatibility program lead Peggy Lowe explained that the company had reached the limit of what was legally and technically possible. In a quote from Lowe, the latest and final addition of 70 plus titles to the backwards compatibility program was only possible through the passion and feedback from the community. Your constant requests for specific titles and enhancement encouraged the backwards compatibility team to partner with the original creators to preserve thousands of games from over 4 generations of Xbox. While we continue to stay focused on preserving and enhancing the art form of games, we've reached the limit of our ability to bring new games to the catalog from the past due to licensing, legal, and technical constraints. Thank you for being part of this journey with us.
I
And
appreciate that statement, by the way.
list of games that you can go look up. Not just from this list of 70, but if you go look at the whole backwards compatibility list that they have now, it is insane. And the fact that Sony doesn't have one that rivals it is a continual disappointment to me.
Sony has no respect for their back catalog. They have no respect for their old library, and it pisses me off greatly.
And it's all Jim fucking Ryan.
I appreciate this statement from Lo, by the way, because she is essentially saying, hey, you guys are amazing. We took your suggestions. We did what we can. But please understand, we're at the end of this fucking rope. We cannot do this anymore. Stop.
Yep.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate them going, you have squeezed as much blood from this as you can get. We appreciate your support for this, but it's done after this. Yes, and they're very clear about that.
I know you put together a little list of highlights from the backwards compatibility list that they released for these 70 games, but I'm only going to bring out one. I know because we're short on time and because it's the most important game on the list. Advent Rising.
That game was horribly broken at launch, but if you can actually play it in a stable condition, goddamn, it's fun. Very upset that
Advent Rising is the poster child for games that should not have been forced onto last gen.
Yeah, I agree.
That should have been a 360 game, and everything would have been great. But it was the Cyberpunk of the early 2000s.
It really was. It really was. I still enjoy that game in spite of its problems, though. But yeah. Advent Rising was good.
It's hard to play nowadays, but look at backwards compatibility. Let's take a look.
David, I'm going to cut this next story here. All you need to know is that New World's economy is completely and totally fucked, which is a shame because I actually liked playing New World. But until shit gets sorted out, I am not doing that anymore.
I like New World. I played a bunch of hours. I'll probably wait like 6 months to a year before I look at that game again.
Yeah. So what we'll do instead is go to the story below that one via Eurogamer. Quantic Dream Star Wars games apparently set in the High Republic era.
Fancy.
The mysterious Star Wars project currently works at Quantic Dream is reportedly set during the franchise's High Republic era. The Star Wars game is still to officially be announced by Disney or Quantic Dream, but details of the repeatedly leaked game development and his latest morsel comes from rumored shared by VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, says that it's currently named Star Wars Eclipse, and that the project is set during the affluent High Republic era, around 200 years before the Skywalker saga. That is not to be confused with the Old Republic, by the way, which is thousands of years before. So Coder, thousands of years. High Republic, 200 years. There are now there's three separate Star Wars eras now that are canon. There's the Old Republic, the High Republic, and then all the shitty movies.
Can't wait to see Anakin's great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't have some kind of like, this is John Organa, leader of Alderaan, or something like that. Like right. they'll have some connection somewhere.
Some dumb shit.
Quantic Dream has been rumored to be making this game for a very long time, David. We've mentioned a couple times on here. I like Quantic Dream's jam for the most part, even if they have a problem finishing some of their stories. I am interested to see what this is, but I am not interested at all in the High Republic era. I just don't care.
Yeah, I don't know why Star Wars has to go all over the place. Because there's still a million Star Wars stories that are happening like right now in canon, or in the canon that we've seen, outside of those like 6 characters that we've never heard of or seen. There's so much you could do. Do me a favor and just go pick up all the old X-Wing books and just start getting into some of the drama of that shit. Bring me some of that. Why not? Come on, guys.
By the way, this has Game Awards written all over it.
Agreed.
There's too much. Good.
It just makes a tons of sense, right? They're going to drop this at Game Awards because that boy's got pull. He just does. He's magic.
There's too much leaks about this now, too.
Yeah. Also, I will trade you on this next article. I want the one after it.
All right. Okay. So then I will talk about this next one up here, also from GamesIndustry.biz, or rather from GamesIndustry.biz. This relates to the Call of Duty sales we were really referring to earlier. UK Call of Duty launch sales down 40% year on year. Call of Duty Vanguard's launch sales of UK are down 40% over last year's game, the latest GSD data shows. Physical retail sales dropped to 26% over last year's game, where digital fell 44%. It is a disappointing result, but Vanguard's still the second biggest game launch of the year behind FIFA 2022.
This goes to show how ridiculous the sales are for Call of Duty games.
Yes.
It's dropped almost half, still the second biggest game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be curious to see how it stacks up to like Halo, though.
Yeah, I'm actually curious as well on if this is telling of a shift in the industry and the shift of gamers. Are people set up with Call of Duty, or people fed up with Activision, or who knows, right?
There's a lot of stuff going against Call of Duty this year. Last year you had COVID and everyone was stuck at home, and people were like, game sales shot up through the roof. Mm-hmm. You also had nothing coming out for a good chunk of this year. So while it's down 40%, still being the second game of the launch of the year, what else really came out this year?
There's not been a lot of video games this year.
So their sales of video games overall, I believe, are down. I need to actually look at the numbers to be 100% certain on that. Call of Duty Vanguard has been getting lackluster buzz. Even the reviewers out of it. The general pulse of the community over this year's Call of Duty has seemed to be Now, it's still Call of Duty. Still going to be in the top 5. I mean, we could clearly see it here. I think the Activision sexual misconduct allegations have minimal impact on this.
And that's what I think. If anywhere, it would be in the digital sales. Because people that buy this game physically have no fucking idea that that's going on. Now, that is a very blanket statement, and I'm sorry if I offend people that buy physical video games. But I just mean the general consumer sense, like the grandparents that go to whatever retail store to buy video games for holiday season. You're
positing a theory that the only people buying physical games these days are people who are buying it for either their kids or as a gift for someone else.
Kind of.
Don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do tend to agree with your premise.
The instant gratification of downloaded video games, I feel, have really shifted.
Yeah. I agree.
Of course, I am also in a place that has decent internet, so I could be completely off base, and I apologize. But
important to note, this is the UK only, but the UK tends to be a pretty good barometer for US sales as well. So it does seem like there are some problems with Vanguard, but it's still going to be the second biggest selling game this year, probably even eclipsing FIFA as time goes on for the rest of the year.
There you go. This next story made me irrationally excited and then hopelessly disappointed.
It's why I brought it up. I knew you'd like
Sources from Video Games Chronicle. EA has greenlit a Fight Night revival, but it's on pause. According to people with knowledge of the EA Sports label's plans, the new Fight Night, which is currently codenamed Moneyball, has been greenlit and entered early development. Holy shit, do I love Fight Night. However, the series' first installment in a decade is still likely several years from release. This is due to EA Canada's decision to temporarily pause its core development in order to prioritize the next EA Sports UFC game, which is planned for late next year. If it was up to me, cancel that shit, make Fight Night instead. In a studio-wide email seen by Video Games Chronicle, EA Canada told staff that its focus would be on EA Sports UFC 5 for the foreseeable future. The email explained that strong marketplace competition had made it challenging to staff up for Fight Night, which was intended to enter production alongside UFC, and did not want to split its senior creatives between two fighting game projects. Thus, the decision's been made to pause that game's development for the time being to ensure that UFC 5 will be delivered at a high quality, the email reads. That being said, just the fact that Fight Night is back in the air over at EA makes me so excited because I really like that franchise. If you've never heard of it, series of boxing video games that came out in the 360 era.
PS3, yeah, it's like 2004, 2005, 2006.
I think they made one in the 2010Xs, right? Whatever you want to call that. But yeah, it's been a while since we had a Fight Night game, and I really like that franchise. So
I am not a boxing guy, but Fight Night was one of those games I enjoyed playing because it was a boxing game that had the technical breadth of a fighting game.
Yeah, it was so good. Like the fact that you fought with joysticks, and I know some people fought with buttons, but you could round off for haymakers and quick jab, and it was so good.
Its control scheme was absurd, but it worked.
Yeah.
I still to this day don't. Nothing I have ever played comes close to using the same control scheme that Fight Night used.
Yep. That being said, I could pick it up and play it right now.
Yeah. It was absurd that it worked as well as it did. But I figured that you specifically want to know about that, Dave, because I know that you loved that franchise. It sounds like this is going to be happening, but don't expect it till like 2024, 2025 on the earliest.
Give me some Legacy Fighters, guys.
David,
throw them in there. It's been a minute since we had a Fight Night. You've missed a bunch of people.
This alleged Fight Night revival is not the only thing to be delayed. There are other two big delays that are happening this week as well. Playdate, you know that stupid yellow console with the crank? Well, that's been delayed from early 2022, that's been delayed to early 2022 from late 2021 due to some battery issues.
That makes sense.
I have played the Playdate. I remember playing it at one of the last events I went to before the world stopped actually doing shit. It's garbage. Sorry. If it's $100 piece of junk that people are buying because they want something that looks boutiquey, I do not get the draw for this at all. I do not understand.
It's an original Game Boy with a crank.
That for $100. I think it's $100 anyways. Last time I checked, I thought it was $100.
It's niche.
It's dumb.
Whatever.
Something else. Something more interesting, however, the Steam Deck. That has now been delayed 2 months as well. No longer coming out in December, coming February 2022. And they straight up say it's because of material shortage.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks, Valve. Hey, guess what? We can't get the shit to build the things, so you gotta wait. All right, sounds good, guys. You bring that thing out when you bring that thing out.
Once again, I appreciate a company's bluntness in this case when they just go, hey, this shit's delayed. Let me tell you exactly why. It's because we can't fucking buy shit to build it.
Yep.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Are you going to get a Steam Deck?
Yeah.
Good, because I want to play around with it, but I don't want to buy one. What I mean by that is I don't want to see video of someone playing it. It's going to be one of those things that I need to physically get my hands on it.
I'm 100% on the list for a Steam Deck.
Okay.
Already.
Okay.
I think it looks awesome. I also think it's going to be slightly better than my PC, if we're being honest. And if it works as well as I think it will, it might just replace my computer.
Yeah,
I just plug it into a monitor.
I really physically want to get a hold of it because that's the thing about handhelds, right? I can look at a console and go, okay, I know what this experience is going to be. I see the game. I know what it is. But the handhelds, you need to like nail the ergonomics of it so well.
Yeah, I definitely need to feel it because if it feels like a Switch, I'm going to be so bummed.
Right.
Because those tiny buttons.
I'll come out and say it. I don't think Steam does physical stuff that well. The Steam controller.
Yeah, but you still haven't played with the Index, so.
Fair enough. I haven't played with the Index, but I did play that. I do have a Steam controller somewhere, and that thing feels garbage. I hate the way the Steam controller feels.
And that was refined into the Index controllers, and those were refined into the Steam Deck controller.
I'm willing to give them another shot. David, I don't get to play around if you're a Steam Deck for at least another 3 months. What can I do to keep myself occupied between now and then?
I like how optimistic you are that I'm in the early part of that list.
I'd said at least another 3. It could be another 3 years.
That's fair. New releases this week include some games that people are probably already playing, but bear with me. That's how new releases work, and I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. First on the list, Grow, Song of the Evertree. Hits PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is a casual sim exploration game, so it's kind of like a Worldcraft sandbox with life management and adventure elements. So it has like a 3D fantasy vibe. You're growing your own worlds. You're walking around. You're changing the world for the better. Or for the worse, whatever you're gonna do. And I don't know. You're building stuff. It does not look like Minecraft, and so it's hard for me to describe like a world building sandbox without saying it's voxel based or it's Java based. It looks like a full 3D world. So I don't really know how the crafting building components all work. Besides pick a blueprint and make it something like that. Who knows? But take a look if you are into that kind of thing. Last Stand Aftermath hits the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC. This is from the people that make Last Stand, which has, I think there's 2 or 3 of those games. This is an isometric 3D roguelike zombie survival game. So I know we're kind of over zombies, or a lot of people are, but this is...
I kind of want to play it.
I'm surprised that this didn't happen during the zombie renaissance, but maybe it needed roguelikes to get to where they are before they came out with it. So After you are infected by the zombie virus, you set out to explore the post-apocalypse and find hope for your fellow survivors.
Yeah, I kind of want to play this.
I think it looks pretty cool. Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is a next-gen game. PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Look at that, not on last gen. This is an actual new video game. Open world detective game starring a young Sherlock Holmes.
Is this the one from Frogwares?
I believe so.
They've done some good stuff in the past. I like The Sinking City. I've liked some of the earlier Sherlock Holmes stuff. I might have to give this a look. I know they had that real nasty break for Big Ben Interactive.
Oh, yeah, I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I think this is their first game since that happened, so I kind of want to support them.
Yeah, get it done. Plus, Sherlock Holmes. Everybody likes a good detective video game. Marsupilami, Poob Adventure. I don't know if I said any of that correct, but it's on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is a 2D adventure platformer where you're discovering the Marsupilamis. If you've never seen them before, and I've never heard of them before, in an adventure full of surprises. That all being said, I've never recognized this. I don't know anything about it, but I hear this plays like a Donkey Kong Country game.
Really?
Yeah. And it looks like a, 2D adventure platformer. I don't know. Maybe it's cool. Well, someone also have to tell me. Also released kind of suddenly because we didn't hear these coming in advance, at least that they were going to be releasing this week. 2 different Riot League of Legends video games come out this week. Ruined King is on PS4 and 5, all the Xboxes, Switch, and PC. This is their RPG turn-based fantasy game that was shown off during that whole big Riot Expo from, like a year back. So you're playing a whole different party of League of Legends champions. You're exploring the town of Bilgewater, and you're setting sail for the Shadow Isles to discover the secrets of the It's an RPG based on League of Legends. That's kind of neat, right?
I hope this is good, but I'm so disconnected from League of Legends as a general thing that all these names that I'm hearing, right? I just don't care.
They don't want you to be a big League of Legends player. They're trying to get you into their universe. They're trying to build more of a brand than just one video game that causes just pure unbridled rage in the hearts of people. So there you go.
It does bring out the worst of us.
Also released very recently was that Netflix TV show that they made, Arcane. Which I hear is getting crazy good reviews. So they're doing a lot to get people kind of invested into their lore.
I have such a hard time believing that a League of Legends anime is actually doing as well as it is.
Have you seen video of it?
No.
Like, even if you haven't watched the show, take a look at it, because the animation looks incredible.
I have like a fucking blind spot when it comes to League of Legends. I could look at a story that says League of Legends cured cancer, and I would still think cancer exists. Like, for some reason...
You just miss it.
It's not even that I hate it. I just overlook it. I see League of Legends and immediately scroll past.
That's funny. So anyway, back on the Riot train, Hextech Mayhem, a League of Legends story. I don't like the fact that they did the League of Legends story, but I get that they have to somehow put their brand on it. Besides, the giant fucking Riot logo that shows up front, but that's beside me. Now, this is on Switch, PC, and mobile. This is a runner rhythm platformer. So think like
Bit Trip
or something like that. Fast-paced rhythm runner. Every action has an explosive reaction. Take the role of Hexplosive Expert Ziggs.
No, Hexplosive is you don't get to use Hexplosive as a word. I know that's not you saying that. I know that's right. You don't get to use Explosive as a word.
There's some to the neighborhoods of Piltover.
There's some shit I gotta put my foot down on. That's one of them. I'm sorry.
Okay, but can I read you the copy as I wrote it down as a human?
Yes.
Just real quick. Take on the role of Hexplosive Expert Ziggs as he rampage through the neighborhoods of Piltover. Yo, these fucks have the indie tag on the Steam page like they ain't worth billions of dollars.
They have.
Sometimes I write myself little notes so I can remember things. But
hold on, I have to.
This game has the indie tag on
Steam.
Steam.
It has the indie tag. Riot Games has the. That word means fucking nothing anymore.
Their company is worth $15 billion. I checked. And I just thought that was fucking hilarious. Like, obviously, even though this is a quote-unquote small, Switch PC mobile rhythm platformer, like, endless runner game, there's so much money.
You know who I blame for this? Tencent.
That makes sense.
Don't ask me why. Don't ask me for, like, a connection.
Yeah. No,
just accept that somehow Tencent's at fault for this.
Yeah,
Because
no, you're always mad at those guys, so
Tencent.
that all tracks.
They bought someone else recently. I didn't put in the news because I already had a bunch of shit in here. But yeah, they recently bought someone. I think it's I'll find out where you go on.
Cool. XO1 hits the Xboxes and PC. This is a 3D spaceflight exploration game. Strange signal, an alien craft, an interplanetary gravity-defying journey through space and time. This actually, I think, looks really good. It has kind of a relaxed atmosphere, super chill vibe. The music sounds nice. And you're just kind of flying an almost classic-looking flying disc saucer spaceship through different environments and kind of exploring and looking around. And I don't know, looks chill, looks nice. Also out on Switch this week, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They are, because it's hard to make new Pokemon games, they're just slowly burning through and remastering all the old ones. If you don't know what Pokemon is, you probably don't care about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. If you do, then you're either already playing this and my words are doing nothing, or you're going, God, another Pokemon game.
Wake Up Interactive, by the way, is the company that Tencent just bought. 90% of it's a Japanese company.
Wow, okay. The next one, now hear me out, bear with me. Nerf Legends is a video game that just released for the PlayStations, the Xboxes, Switch, and PC.
I will never dismiss these games as being crap solely because there was that spate of paintball games, the Greg Hastings shit we got in 2003 or 4 or whatever it was. And those games were surprisingly competent shooters.
So here's the thing. You're in a futuristic sci-fi world where you're face-to-face with legions of robot enemies and ultimate boss masters. It is a first-person shooter with Nerf weaponry.
Okay.
And it's completely single-player, which to me feels like, okay, maybe they don't expect to sell that much and they just made a little single-player campaign. Like, that's neat. But looking at video of this video game, it looks like fucking Quake with Nerf guns.
Hey, Chex made a Quake game, and that was really good.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I actually think this game looks dope, but it's rough that the Nerf shooter is releasing this week of all weeks when, you know, Halo just hit. And the last one on my list, Battlefield 2042 on the PlayStations, Xbox, and PC. Now, the listed release date is this week. However, if you've paid attention to the show, you know that our opinion is that if I can pay money for your video game, that is its release date, which means this game came out last Friday. Everybody else is held hostage by not paying enough money to unlock it on release date. So, you know, all the scrubs in EA's eyes can play it on Friday. But it's Battlefield. First-person shooter. It marks the return of iconic all-out warfare to the franchise. It's not set in the past. It's 2042. It's got tanks, planes, automobiles, it's got tornadoes, it's got building destruction. It's fucking awesome.
So
I've played
other
about
than the
8 hours
tornado,
of it.
Other than the tornado, what other major weather effects have you seen affect maps?
I think there was like a flood on one.
Okay.
And I think those are the only ones I've really seen that I've like personally gone up to and messed with. I know there's been other things that have happened, like storms and stuff, that I just didn't bother going to investigate because
You see that and you're like, fuck that. Don't want any part of that.
Yeah, for the most part, I just kind of avoid those things because it's where proper shenanigans happen. A dude in my group was in a hovercraft, like old school like hovercraft, and managed to catch the edge of a tornado and ride it to the top of a building and land up there and started shooting people.
See, that's why I appreciate the Battlefield games. Because they don't take themselves seriously, and there's shit in there you can do that.
Ever since the trailer had the Renzo Zukin in it, I was like, dude, I gotta play this game.
That's when he jumps from his aircraft, rocket launches something, and goes back into his aircraft.
Yes.
Yeah. They know what people like, and Battlefield is a chaos simulator, and I'm glad that they're embracing it.
Yep. And that being said, I know a bunch of people that are like bummed and they don't think this game's properly chaotic, but I don't know if we're playing a different video game because I think this is a return to form. This game, to me, feels like when I was playing Battlefield 3. I'm having that much fun with it.
And I also believe there's no single-player campaign to this either, so stay away if you were looking for something like what Battlefield 1 or something had. This is multiplayer only from what I understand.
David? That's okay. The only good level of Battlefield 1's campaign was the first one.
I agree. But
that was a damn good level.
Such a strong opening with the Harlem Hellfighters, right?
Yes, so good. And then
I
dropped
remember
right off a
playing that
cliff.
going, yes, this is going to be great. And then everything else at that point, I was like, this is just not good at all. David,
That too top loaded. What are you gonna do?
that does it for new releases, which means that also does it for the show as well. This has been Game Points episode 286, and thank you all for showing up. We do this show live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. But if you can't join us live, you can also watch old episodes of the show at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, or you can join our Discord server where I post the links to the shows along with all the stories that we've referenced. You can find that down below, regardless of where you're watching at. You can follow the show on Twitter at GamePointsPC, myself, Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21, and David there at _Satori. Standard streaming resumes this week with various games. Might do a little bit of Hearts of Iron, might get into some, well, I don't want to talk about it just yet. We'll figure out when that time comes. And of course, we'll be back again next Tuesday with the podcast proper, though. Until then, though, stay safe, take care, and we'll be seeing you.